Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Who wants to read this one? Mangalarcham prayers.
May I, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Namaho, sorry. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Tivrandasya Jnanan Jalashalakaya Chakshurunlimitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Kapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Laita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरे वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय श्री हरि बोल
Hare Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
थैंक यू
Okay, so today we continue chapter 6, text 42. Atava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etaddi durlabha pataram loke janma yadidrisham Athava or Yoginam of learned transcendentalists, Eva certainly, Kule in the family of Bhavati takes birth, the Matam of those who are endowed with great wisdom. Etad this, he certainly, Durlabhataram, very rare, Loke in this world, Janma birth, yet that which Idrasham like this. Translation. For he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Verily, such a birth is rare in this world. Purport. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives spiritual impetus from the very beginning of his life. It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have now degenerated and due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalist generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families. By the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. Okay, one more. Tatratam buddhi samyogam labate paurvadehikam yata te cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kuru nandana. Tatra Derupan, Tam that Buddhism Yogam revival of such consciousness. Labate regains, Paurva previous, Dehikam bodily consciousness. Yatate endeavors, Cha also, Tataha thereafter, Bhuyaha again, Samsiddhau for perfection, Kurunandana, O son of Kuru. Translation. On taking such a birth, he again revives the divine consciousness of his previous life and tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success of son of Kuru. Purport. King Bharata, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharata was the emperor of the whole world, and since his time this planet is known among the demigods as Bharatavarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavartavarsha. The emperor at an early age retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jada Bharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. Yes, he played as he was blind and deaf and dull. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhu, so wants to read next one.
Jai Prabhu. I think no one.
Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
Okay. पूर्वभ्यासेन तेन्यवा हिर्यते है व्यासोऽपि जिन जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्द ब्रह्मदैवर्तते previous abhyasena abhyasena practice tena by the influence of that eva certainly hiryate is attached he surely avasya helpless api also saha he jignasuh willing to know api so yogasya of yoga sabda brahma ritualistic principle of scripture ativrtate trans, trans, transcendence transcends translation by virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, the automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist striving for yoga stands always above the ritualistic principle of the scriptures. Purport. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.8, such a degrade of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalist is explained as follows. Aho bhata swapa ko to grihayan Gariyan के यज्जिहव्रग sorry यज्जिहव्रगी वक्री वर्तते नमः तुभ्यं ते tepus tapasti juhuveho sasnor arya brahmanu sorry brahmanuchur nahama granati yeti. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all spiritual studies. The famous example The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of his most important disciples. Although Thakur Haridas Thakur Haridas happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, known as Sabda Brahman. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principle of Krishna consciousness nor become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
So which verse this is?
3.33.8.
No, Prabhu, it's not that one.
Not that one. Huh?
In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:33:8, such disregard of Vedic is explained as follows. 3:38. Why it's saying 3:38? It's not that.
Probably a mistake.
But it is really. Yeah, I don't like
to
this,
find it.
because they say this is the original Gita, but there is so many things like this, and I cannot take proper notes from this because there is
Yeah,
no.
sometimes mistakes are there.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, the
Yeah.
previous one. Yeah, I remember this verse. Yes. Srila Prabhupada used to quote this very often.
Why I don't have it? Now we need to save it.
So to say that
333
1972 edition is the best, I mean, it's not proper.
Yes, Prabhu. Those who read it and they maybe have not studied it. They never take notes, or they don't know.
Yeah. And it's not Prabhupada's mistake. I mean, it's those who edited.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to read next?
May I read,
Thank you,
Prabhu?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
प्रयत्नात् यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्ध किल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धस्तातु jyati param gatim. Prayatnad, by rigid practice. Yatamanaha, one who endeavors to, but yogi, such a transcendentalist, Samshuddha, washed off, Kilbishaha, all kinds of sins, Aneka, many, Janma, birth, Samsiddha, so achieved perfection, Tataha, thereafter, Yati attains, Param, highest, Gatim, destination. Translation. But when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed off all contaminations, then ultimately, after many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. A person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam tedvantha mukta nirmukta bhajante mam drithavrataha. After many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one then becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्मात् योगी भवार्जुनम् तपस्विभ्यः then the ascetic adhikah greater yogi the yogi jnanibhyah then the wise api also madaha considered adhikah greater than karmibhyah then the fruitive worker cha also adhikah greater than yogi the yogi tasmad therefore yogi a transcendentalist bhava just become arjuna or arjuna. Translation. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Purport. When we speak of yoga, we refer to linking up our consciousness with the supreme absolute truth. Such a process is named differently by various practitioners in terms of the particular method adopted. When the linking up process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it is called karma yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called jnana yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in the next verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and as such, nothing can excel it. Asceticism without self-knowledge is imperfect. Empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. And fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. Therefore, the most highly praised form of yoga performance mentioned here is Bhakti yoga, and this is still more clearly explained in the next verse. Yoginam api sarvesham madgetanattaratmanam shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamam Yoginam of all yogis, api also, sarvesham all types of, madgatena abiding in me, antaha atmana always thinking of me within, shraddhavan in full faith, bhajate renders transcendental loving service, yaha one who, mam me, the Supreme Lord, saha he, me mine, yukta tamaha the greatest yogi, mataha is considered. Translation. And of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Purport. The word bhajate is significant here. Bhajate has its root in the verb bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaja. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to the worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. one can one can avoid worshipping a respectable man or demigod and may be called discouragers, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam confirms this as follows. Ya esham purusham sakshat atma prabhavam ishvaram na bhajantya vajananti sthanat brashta patanjadaha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primordial Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse also the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is also found in the Bhagavad Gita, avajananti mamuddha. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. 9:11, I believe, this verse. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord. Consequently, they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes, and the mind is on him, it is called ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called bhakti yoga, the culmination. Factually, bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name: karma yogi, jnana yogi, adhyana yogi, raja yogi, hatha yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all the other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of yoga, just as when we speak of Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountain, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyama Sundara, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower-garlanded. Illuminating all sides is his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda, and he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by bhakti yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Yasya devi para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasyaite kathita hyartha prakashante mahatmanaha. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhaktirasya bhajanam tadhamutra padhi nairashyanam manaha kalpanam etad eva naishkarmyam. Definition of bhakti.
1 second, Prabhu.
No problem.
Surely I have this one.
Yeah, very often quoted by our seniors and Srila Prabhupada as well. Yeah, bhakti means
Do you remember the
sorry?
do you remember the verse number?
647, the last verse of the chapter.
647.
Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, but this is from Shvetashvara Upanishad, I believe.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, why it is not mentioned here, I remember. I saw this somewhere. Oh, yeah. At least in Russian version, it is mentioned, yeah, 623. Yeah, you see,
I
this
don't
is.
understand. Yes, I need to
Sorry,
say.
bro. Yeah, I mean, you see, this is one of the changes that Tetwet Prabhu spoke about, and that it is a good change that you
Yeah.
see the translation is there, but where it is from, we don't know. But this is from Shvetashvara Upanishad. This is a good change. So how can you deny that all those changes are bad? Not all. And sometimes, and I believe the previous verse 333:7, but it was the 8th verse
Yes.
from Bhagavatam. I believe when they change one, it is proper. Such mistake fixed. Definitely. Okay.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No. And yeah, and you see the next verse, I believe it is also, the source is not mentioned.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclination, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkarmya. So this is from Gopala Tapani Upanishad 115. Anyway, there are some of the means for performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Thus, they end Bhaktivedanta purpose to the 6th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Sankhya Yoga by Brahma Vidya. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Go.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Yeah, you see, this, I believe it is mentioned that this is a definition of bhakti.
Yes, Prabhu.
Anyway, nice verse.
Okay, Haribo. What is the next chapter?
Yeah, very important one, especially the first verse that we should hear to learn. I remember that Prabhu gave elaborate class on this. Yeah, you see now here, O son of Pritha Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Yeah, they stressed on this hearing. I mean, of course, I cannot elaborate as them, but anyone who would like to know, you can go and watch that with Prabhu's class.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I need to rewatch that. Okay, let's read two more verses. Let's read the first verses of this chapter. Who wants to start the chapter?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandasana, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Can I read Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Sakteina Ma Partha Yogam Yucca Namadrishya Ashashyam Samagrama Yatha Yagyasita Chranu. Shri Bhagavanuvacha the Supreme Lord said, My unto me Asakta Manaha mind, attached Pratha, O son of Partha, Yogam, self-realization, Yunjan, so practicing, Mat, Ashriya, in consciousness of me, Krishna consciousness. Asham Shriyam, without doubt, Samagram, completely, Mam, unto me, Yataha, sa, as much as Janyasi, you can know that Snu, try to hear. Translation. Now, hear, O son of Partha Arjun, how by practicing yoga in full of consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Purport by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulence, and how he manifests in such a opulence is described here. Manifest his opulence is described herein. Also, four kinds of fortunate people who becomes attached to Krishna, and four kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first six chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as an non-material spirit soul which is capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yoga. At the end of this sixth chapter, has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in the other words, Krishna consciousness, in the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but no, not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti, as or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge of in Krishna and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete and Krishna consciousness, one who know that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond and doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stone on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically know about Brahmajyoti and Paramatma in full by practice of Krishna consciousness yoga. One can know everything in full, namely an absolute truth, the living entity, the material nature and their manifestation, and with paraphernalias. Paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practices directed in the last verse of the sixth chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, which supreme is made possible by prescribed devotional service, nine different forms of which Shravanavat is the first and most important. That Lord therefore say to Arjuna that know or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him on receive the greatest opportunity for progress in Krishna consciousness. One has their greatest one here for that learn from Krishna directly, or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not to from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth is described in the second chapter of the first canto as follows: Swanam Katha, Shravanam Swakatham Krishna Punya Shravanam Kirtanam Hridayathan Shasto Hiyapatrani Vidhanoteshu Hasatim Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Muktam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki तदा रजस्तमो भव कामलोभादशश्चहे चेत इतैरविद्यां स्थितं स्तवे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नः मनसो भगवत भक्ति योग्यतः भगवत तत्त्वविजानां मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदयग्रन्थस्य चिर्यन्ते सर्वशून्यश्रा श्रीयन्ते च कर्माणि दृष्टा इवात्मानि स्त्रवै. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita itself, righteous activities. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling that everyone's heart, act as the best wishing friend and purified devotee who constantly engage in hearing of him in this way. A devotee naturally develops his mm, depth. Everyone heart it as a being develop his dormant transcendental knowledge as he is here from our Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotee he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from most of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice and diminished. When by development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and those material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened. Date remains steady, enlivened by devotional service, and understand the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enable one to come out once to the stage of Asham Shyam Samagram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, one more. Jnanam teham sa vijnanam idam vakshyam ashesataha yajnanadvaneha bhuyonya jnanavyam avashishyate. Jnanam, phenomenal knowledge. Te, unto you. Aham, I. Sa, with. Vijnanam, nominal knowledge. Idam, this. Vakshyami, shall explain. Asheshataha, in full, yat which, jnanatva, knowing, na, not, iha, in this world, bhuyaha, further, and yet anything more, jnanatvyam, knowable, avashishyate, remains to be known. Translation. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and nominal, by knowing which there shall remain nothing further to be known. Nominal means not observable by human senses. And this phenomenal means something that produces some phenomenon, like snow falling is a phenomenon. Purport. Complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the observable world, and the spirit behind it. The source of both of them is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above-mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord directly from the Lord in disciplic succession. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practices. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known, and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas say, Yasmin vijnate sarvameva vijnatam bhavanti. Okay, now we go to Siksastakam prayers. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shreyah Kairavachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
नाम नामकारि बहुधानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पितानि यमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहाजिनिनानुरागः
तृणादपि समुच्चयेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना मानेन मानदेन कीर्तनेन सदा हरिः
नदनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकमये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहितुकी त्वयि
आयनन्दतनुजकिङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधो कृपया तव पादपङ्कजा स्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तयाम्
Nayanam Galadash.
नयनं
Yes, Prabhu, you can continue.
ओके थैंक यू नयनं गदलम् धराय ओके अशूर्धराय नयनं गदलं गदा गदलद् अशूर्धराय वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा पुलकेर्निश्चिन्तं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravirshayitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me.
अश्लिष्यव पदलतं पिनष्टुमम् अल्दशनम् अलमहता करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदततुलं पतो मत्प्राणनतस्तु सैव नापलः
Ribol.
Glory to this Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction of to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy name. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, thinking on self lower than in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
Oh, Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire very beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in you.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Hri Bol, Shri Sixastakam ki jai,
Hari
Harinam
Bol,
ki jai,
Jai,
Tattva ki jai,
Jai,
ki jai, Shri
Jai,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Jai,
ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai,
Nitya Gaura Prem,
Jai,
Jai,
Hri
Hari
Hri
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hri Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.